Now, if there's an arc that's more polarizing than the war arc, it's the Tenchi Bridge arc. Also known as the reunion arc by some, cause it's the first time we see Sasuke again after the time skip. Which if you read the manga, it was maybe like 50-ish, 60-ish chapters. But if you watch the anime with all the fillers, then it was more than 150 episodes. First time I watched the anime, I didn't even know what filler was. So after Sasuke left, I kept watching the fillers, waiting to see Sasuke. And my friend was just like, bruh, just skip the Shippuden. The fact that Team 7 has a reunion makes this arc a lot more important to the story than most people would like to admit. So in today's video, I'll be going over the alleged worst arc in Naruto. I'll be going over the storyline, some narrative implications that I think are pretty important to point out, the new characters introduced, and some of the reasons as to why people view it as poorly as they do. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got a lot of big plans coming up for this channel that you do not want to miss out on. First off, I want to start by stating that the reason this arc gets the bad rep that it does isn't because it's bad or unwatchable, but more so because it's followed by what most people consider to be the best run in the entire show. Everything from the Akatsuki suppression arc till the 5 Kage summit arc was just peak content. So it's more so that this arc doesn't stand too highly in comparison to these other arcs. Let me just get to it. The arc follows the events of the Kazekage rescue arc, mainly the information that Sakura managed to get from her fight with Sasori, intel on Orochimaru, the same guy that Sasuke left the village to train with. We all know that while Sasuke was busy chasing his bag, training for his confrontation with Itachi, Naruto and Sakura had only one thing in mind: bringing Sasuke back to the village. It was the driving force that pushed the both of them. Sakura was initially terrified of facing Sasori, but once she heard that he was Orochimaru's old partner and he might know where he is, the same Orochimaru that Sasuke was training with, we see her resolve fortified, and she becomes a useful asset in the fight against Sasori. Sasori reveals to Sakura that he has a spy working with Orochimaru, and once Sakura relays the intel to the Hokage, they start formulating a plan to capture that spy in hopes that it would lead them to Sasuke. Now it was this arc that introduced us to the man responsible for everything bad ever, Danzo. So maybe makes sense why everyone hates it. The ones operating from the shadows that supported the great tree of Konoha from the depth of the earth, the root or foundation. Because of Danzo's influence over the two elders, he managed to plant an agent in Team Kakashi to keep watch over the Jinchuriki brat, and to carry out a classified mission given to him by Danzo, one that takes priority over the Hokage's orders. Sai's true mission is the elimination of Sasuke Uchiha. Now in hindsight it makes much more sense. Of course Danzo would want to kill the last surviving Uchiha that had caused him so much trouble in the future. We're also introduced to Sai in this arc, an orphan raised in the Foundation. Pretty odd to say the least. Since he grew up with the Foundation's mental conditioning, he had all his emotions suppressed, which while it made it easier to follow through with Danzo's unpleasant or unethical missions, it also made it very difficult for him to understand bonds and have normal social interactions. He even says that he didn't know what face to make when his brother died, and was trying out different personalities the entire time he was with Naruto and Sakura, showing how different being brought up in the Foundation made a person. People that were raised in that environment were conditioned so they have no name, no emotions, no past, no future. There is only the mission. We would later find out the extent to which the Foundation would go to. They were all bred to be loyal soldiers to Danzo after all. Back to Sai, he's the odd one out of the group. Naruto can't stand him, Sakura's clobbering him, and Yamato's spying on him. Oh yeah, Sai's not the only new character introduced to our main cast. We also have Kakashi's Jr. filling in for him, that being Yamato. Risky move by Kishimoto to give these two characters that haven't been introduced before such big roles in this arc. This is probably why this arc isn't as popular as the rest. These supporting characters don't really stand out to the same extent as the Akatsuki or the Kage. Nonetheless, I think these two serve their purpose well, one being a hardened agent of the Foundation that can't comprehend human emotions and has to read books to understand basic social cues, and one being a survivor of Orochimaru's human experimentation. Orochimaru himself is surprised to see one of his old test subjects alive and well in the leaf. One thing I do like about this arc is how it expands the lore and demonstrates relationships between all these big players. Sasori has Kabuto under his manipulation jutsu, or so he thinks. He developed a grudge against his old Akatsuki partner and was hoping to leverage Kabuto and take Orochimaru down, as well as get intel on the reanimation jutsu. Meanwhile, Orochimaru breaks the jutsu used to manipulate Kabuto, and alongside him, he plans to ambush Sasori. Seems like now, Orochimaru and the Akatsuki were working against each other. We also get a glimpse of Orochimaru's relationship with Danzo, and see how conniving the old geezer really is. We learn that Danzo's been in communication with Orochimaru. Danzo's even providing Orochimaru with sensitive leaf intelligence, whatever he can to cover his dirty tracks. As the series progresses, we'd learn that Danzo was involved with Orochimaru's unethical human experimentation habits, and that he himself was Orochimaru's test subject at one point. Now, if there's one thing that everyone agrees on, regardless of their opinion on this arc, is that this battle was just incredible. The sheer magnitude and scale, and the narrative weight it had. Orochimaru easily agitates Naruto, which pushes Naruto to rely on the Nine Tails chakra. Keep in mind that at this point of the story, the Nine Tails was a force of hatred and not to be reckoned with. And this is where I come to tackle some of these plain wrong opinions that I see all over the internet. Oh, Naruto was never the underdog, he has the Nine Tails. Whenever he's stuck at an unwinnable situation, he can always rely on the Nine Tails. This battle is there to show us what the trade-off was for using the Nine Tails power. Sure, he becomes immensely powerful, but what's the point if Kurama takes over his body and he starts running amok? Naruto's consciousness is barely clinging on when he has three tails. The sheer aura he releases is enough to destroy the Tenchi bridge and send everyone flying. And once the fourth tail grows, it's too late. Naruto's gone at this point, and the Nine Tails is unleashed. By just swiping his arm, he causes a massive cataclysm, and with one Bijou bomb, he's able to incinerate the triple Rashomon gates. Even when Orochimaru uses his strongest attack, he can't even pierce him. And people don't realize this, but Orochimaru is getting worn out. After he used the Kusanagi blade, he was done. Pooped. Now that was in part due to his current body rejecting him, but still, Naruto displayed a level of power that far exceeded his peers. But this wasn't the power that he can use freely. It was this battle that made Naruto realize that he couldn't rely on the power of the Nine Tails. Not yet, at least. And to add on top of that, transforming into the V2 cloak had detrimental effects on Naruto's body, and would leave it covered in blood and injuries, after which the Nine Tails healing power would work its magic, which would overall shorten Naruto's lifespan, kinda like Tsunade's healing jutsu. So Naruto was not handed some free pass. He was still the underdog in many ways, he just had a different type of battle to face, and I think Kishimoto did a good job portraying it in this fight. Yamato confronts Naruto, revealing that the person that hurt Sakura wasn't Orochimaru, but him in his Nine Tails state. It was then that Naruto realized what the consequence for relying on that power was. Yamato also informs them that Sai willingly left with Orochimaru. Meanwhile, Sai arrives at base and gets closer to facing his target. It's honestly funny that Danzo sent this guy to take out Sasuke. Like, what was he thinking? Sasuke manages to get this emotionless guy to shit his pants with a glance. He's a bit out of his league. Yamato manages to track them down. Now the subplot is about Sai and the schemy shit that he's doing for Danzo. He claims that he's conspiring with Orochimaru while also spying on him and plotting to kill Sasuke. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Sai's been conditioned to follow Danzo's instructions without question. Everyone in the Foundation's the same. All of us are either users or tools or both. The sentiment stated by Zabuza Momochi as far back as chapter 30 is echoed here. It's funny because the practices implemented in the Foundation were similar to those that took place in the Blood Mist. Both regimes regarded shinobi as just tools. But shinobi aren't tools. Shinobi are people. Even the most hardened of them deep down has something that makes them human. And for Sai, it was the bond he had with his late brother. Kakashi said once before that Naruto could form a bond with anyone, and it seems like he managed to get through to Sai. Now that he'd been Takno Jutsu'd by Naruto, he abandons his old mission and decides to restrain Sasuke to save his bond with Naruto. But it seems like he didn't learn the lesson from the last time they met. We finally get the long-awaited reunion, a memory that's gonna be etched into Naruto's mind. We see the payoff from deserting the village to train with Orochimaru. Sasuke is so ahead of Naruto and his peers. Kishimoto visualizes this in the first panel by drawing Sasuke standing above them, looking down at all of them. In comparison to the last time on the final valley, where they fought on equal footing and Sasuke acknowledged Naruto's strength, now Sasuke was pulling out a sword on him, telling him how he should have spent his time training to become the Hokage instead of chasing him. He wasn't showing the same level of respect that he did in the last fight. His training has put Sasuke leagues ahead of Naruto. Sasuke also manages to effortlessly deal with everyone in Team Kakashi. Sakura's frozen, can't really do anything with Sasuke-kun there, and it's in this arc that her character regresses so much. Which is sad because all the development she received in the Kazekage rescue arc gets dismissed here. Even when Naruto calls upon the Nine Tails power, Sasuke is able to suppress it with his Sharingan. It gets so bad that Captain Yamato has to go all out, and Orochimaru of all people has to stop Sasuke from dropping a Kirin on them. And Naruto was left feeling inadequate, like he was nowhere near saving Sasuke or becoming Hokage, and Sasuke had way beyond surpassed him. It was clear that at this point, Naruto still had his ways to go. But that was alright. It was this rivalry between the two of them that pushed each of them forward. Just like how Sasuke decided to join Orochimaru after witnessing Naruto's strength, Sasuke would only serve as a motivator and push Naruto. Naruto will continue trying to catch up to Sasuke, and the next time they meet and fight, they'll be on a much more equal ground. Now, I personally didn't think that this was a bad arc. I mean, we were introduced to some pretty important characters, and the build-up for finally seeing Sasuke again was real. Kishimoto has this habit of keeping Sasuke away from the spotlight, which kinda makes us, the fans, always interested to see where Sasuke is. And this weight gets exaggerated with filler. There was a while where it felt like whenever Sasuke was back, the real story began. We also get to see the power of the Jinchuriki in action, how strong Naruto could potentially be, but also the cost at which such a great power comes. In my opinion, those were pretty good. I think a bulk of the criticism comes from the side characters. Like I said before, Sakura's character goes backwards the second she sees Sasuke. She goes from a helpful teammate to useless again. The anime even makes her character worse, and literally makes her stand there and do nothing. Lol. The new side characters introduced, Sai and Yamato, I personally didn't mind them, but I do think they're a tad underwhelming when compared to the side cast of the other arcs. And in hindsight, neither character really gets that much development in the latter half of the series. Sai is dropped after Sasuke comes back, and Yamato is conveniently kidnapped for the entire war. Though I will say that they're not the only characters that suffer that fate, and most characters that aren't Naruto, Sasuke, or Kakashi get neglected as the series progresses. In other words, the reason this arc gets the bad rep it does is because it's followed by the greatest run of arcs in shonen. By no means is it bad. The arc does drag a bit, but nowhere near the Kazekage rescue arc or the war arc. So this is my little appreciation video for it. Once again, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for the next video.